He raised a knife over his only son. His hand didn't tremble, his eyes full of tears, his heart full of faith. Who is this man, and why, even today, 4,000 years later, is he still called the father of all nations? In the land of Canaan, beneath an endless starlit sky, stood a small tent. Inside lived an old man named Abram, wealthy, respected, but broken inside by a single relentless pain. His wife Sarai could not bear children, and the years kept passing. One evening, Abram stepped outside his tent. He stared up at the stars and thought about what he would leave behind. No son, no daughter, only emptiness. And that was the moment a voice spoke. Leave your country, your people, your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. You're 75 years old. You've spent your entire life in one place. You have no children. And suddenly an invisible voice tells you, leave everything behind. Go somewhere you've never been, and trust that I will make you into a great nation. What would you do? Most people would assume they'd heard something wrong. They'd go back to sleep. Forget it by morning. But Abram, he went. No map, no guarantee, no proof of any kind, just a promise from an invisible God. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all his servants, all his possessions, and walked into the unknown. At 75 years old, years passed. Abram was living in Canaan. The Lord appeared to him again in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward will be very great. But Abram answered from the depths of his pain, Sovereign Lord, what can you give me? I remain childless. The one who will inherit my estate is a servant born in my household. You have given me no children. This wasn't rebellion. It wasn't unbelief. It was the raw, honest cry of a man who still believes, but no longer understands. And God didn't respond with anger. He responded with tenderness. He led Abram outside into the night and said, Look up at the sky and count the stars. If indeed you can count them, so shall your offspring be. Abram looked up. Stars without number, thousands, millions, more than his eyes could take in, and he believed, simply believed, without proof, without logic, without a single visible reason, and God credited it to him as righteousness. But the years kept moving, 1 year, 2, 5, 10. Sarai remained barren, and then a thought crept in, the same thought that rises in every human heart when God's promise seems too slow. Maybe I need to take matters into my own hands. Sarai came to Abram. The Lord has kept me from having children. Sleep with my servant Hagar. Perhaps through her I can build a family. Abram agreed. Hagar became pregnant, and then, exactly what always happens when we try to rush God's plan on our own terms, everything fell apart. Hagar began to look down on Sarai. Sarai grew jealous. Conflict erupted between the two women. The atmosphere in the household became unbearable. Eventually, Hagar ran away. She fled into the desert, alone, pregnant, unprotected. She sat down by a spring and wept. And then the angel of the Lord appeared to her. Hagar, where have you come from, and where are you going? I'm running away from my mistress. Go back. You will give birth to a son, and shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your misery. Hagar returned. She gave birth to a son. Abram was 86 years old, but this was not the son God had promised. 13 more years passed. Abram was 99. The Lord appeared to him again and said, I am God Almighty. Walk before me faithfully and be blameless. I will establish my covenant between me and you. Abram fell face down. And then God said something Abram didn't see coming. You will no longer be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations. In the ancient world, a name wasn't just a label. A name defined the essence of a person, their destiny, their identity. Abram, great father. Abraham, father of many nations. God didn't just give him a new name, he gave a new identity to a man who still had no legitimate heir. And then he spoke about Sarai. As for Sarai, your wife, you are no longer to call her Sarai. Her name will be Sarah. I will bless her, and she will be the mother of nations. Kings of peoples will come from her. Abraham fell face down again, but this time he laughed inside. Will a son be born to a man 100 years old? Will Sarah bear a child at the age of 90? One blazing hot afternoon, Abraham was sitting at the entrance of his tent. He looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. Abraham rushed out to meet them. He bowed to the ground and said, "Lord, if I have found favor in your eyes, please don't pass your servant by. Let water be brought so you can wash your feet and rest under this tree. I'll get something to eat to refresh you." He hurried to Sarah. "Quick, get some fine flour and bake some bread." He ran to the herd and selected the best calf. He set before his guests butter, milk, and meat. Then one of the visitors asked, "Where is your wife Sarah?" "There, in the tent. I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah will have a son." Sarah was listening from inside the tent, and she laughed to herself. "After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure?" The voice asked. Why did Sarah laugh? Is anything too hard for the Lord? Sarah was afraid. "I did not laugh." "Yes, you did laugh." And then the impossible happened. Sarah became pregnant. Abraham, 100 years old. Sarah, 90. She gave birth to a son. Abraham named him Isaac, which means laughter. God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. 25 years of waiting, 25 years of holding on to a promise while everything around him said, "This is impossible." And now, a newborn in the arms of a 90-year-old mother. Abraham looked at his son and knew, God does not forget. Never. Isaac grew. Abraham taught him, loved him. He looked at him and saw the fulfillment of everything God had promised a quarter century before. And then that morning arrived. Early in the morning, while the sun was just painting the horizon red, God spoke to Abraham. "Abraham, here I am. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love. Go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Stop. Just stop for a second. The God who gave this son through the impossible is now asking for him back. What was Abraham feeling that night? What was he thinking? Maybe he didn't sleep. Maybe he wept. Maybe he asked God again and again, How? How is this possible? You promised that through him my descendants would be like stars in the sky. How can this be? But in the morning, he got up, he saddled his donkey, he cut the wood, he took 2 servants, he took Isaac, and he went. 3 days they walked together, father and son. Abraham knew where they were going. Isaac did not. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." He said, "We will come back." Both of them. Abraham believed even that. They walked on together. Isaac carried the wood. Abraham carried the fire and the knife. And then Isaac quietly asked, "Father?" "Yes, my son." "The fire and the wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham's heart seized, but his voice stayed steady. "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." They arrived at the place. Abraham built the altar. He arranged the wood. He bound Isaac. He laid him on the altar. He stretched out his hand. He picked up the knife and raised it over his only son. His hand didn't tremble, his eyes full of tears, his heart full of faith. And in that very moment, a voice rang out from heaven. "Abraham, Abraham, here I am. Do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Abraham looked up, and he saw a ram caught by its horns in a thicket. He took the ram and sacrificed it instead of his son, and he called that place, "The Lord will provide." The Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time, "I swear by myself, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." Abraham was not a perfect man. He doubted. He took matters into his own hands. He made mistakes, but he always came back to trust, again and again. 25 years between the promise and its fulfillment. 25 years of waiting, of holding on, of not letting go, and God did not forget. That's why 4,000 years later, he is still called the Father of all nations, not because he was perfect, but because he believed, even when it was impossible. Real faith isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. If this story touched your heart, subscribe. We tell ancient stories in a way that speaks to your life today.